Well, tubers, tubettes, and of course my favorite group, the crazy people. Uh, it's going to be very apparent, should you decide to watch this video, how impromptu it was. It's about my friend who was recently in a motorcycle accident, and it tells the tale of how the accident occurred, um, the injuries sustained, and the medical treatment that he received, plus how much it cost to receive the medical treatment, etc. The only problem is, uh, when I went there today to visit with him, I had no intention of doing a video, and I didn't have any video equipment with me. And so, you know, forewarned is forearmed. The sound on it is brutal. And if you choose not to watch it, I don't blame you. But he spent the time to tell his story, and I feel compelled to go ahead and upload it in fairness to him. And there is actually good information in it, if you don't mind the poor sound quality and a couple of interruptions like phone calls and people walking through the front door. So we've managed to keep the standards low, as we've managed to do for the last 4 years here on the channel. So anyway, here's the story of my friend Daryl and his motorcycle accident. Okay, so Daryl, I'm hanging out here with you in Casa. Very nice, by the way, on top of the hill, brand new.
Yes.
Beautiful view.
I'm the first person to live here.
You're the first person to live in.
Yes, sir.
And you're excited and happy and all that.
Yeah, it's really nice. Very quiet, peaceful.
That is the truth. And this is a very impromptu video. An associate of mine who will remain unnamed.
Don't do this to me.
Convinced me to come up and see you today because he needed to use me because I have a car and it was raining.
Because you have a car and he wants one?
And he needed a ride. But the whole purpose of him and I coming up here today was to bring you medical supplies. And to visit with you and to give you a little complete companionship.
Yeah.
So what happened?
I live 4 kilometers up the mountain off the main road, and so I was headed down the mountain on my motorbike. It wasn't raining. It was sunlight, minimal to no traffic, and once you cross a bridge, about 2/3 of the way down, there's a lot of gravel.
Right.
But of course, when you're going downhill, you're not gassing it, you're coasting.
Sure.
So you're constantly braking, so you don't go too fast. And at one point, usually when I brake the front and the back evenly.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's safer. I've been riding Harleys for over 30 years. So I went across the bridge and I was going too fast coasting and I hit the brakes. And I must have had the wheel turn. I don't remember exactly. I must have been on a corner maybe. And the front tire locked up on gravel and just came out from under me. I was doing probably 35, 40 kilometers per hour.
That's pretty quick going downhill.
Yeah. And the front wheel came out from under me and I went one way and the bike went the other way. I think I don't know for sure, but I think there's a possibility I was unconscious just for seconds.
Were you wearing a helmet?
I was wearing a helmet.
Okay, were you wearing long pants?
I was not wearing long pants. I was wearing shorts, helmet, and closed shoes.
Good.
So I'm going to tell you this. Texas does not require you to wear a helmet if you're over 18 or 21.
Mm-hmm.
I never wear a helmet. Here I wear a helmet just to obey the laws, and there are checkpoints, so I don't want to get a ticket. So I wear the helmet to obey the laws here. And I was wearing a helmet, The helmet has some damage to it, and it's with certainty that that helmet saved my ass.
Wow. Because the
So-
damage to the helmet would have been the damage to your head.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
we have a friend, again, I don't have his permission to use his name, but he's a mutual friend of all of ours that's in the hospital right now with a hemorrhage in the brain.
Yes.
Again, he was, I don't know if he was wearing a helmet or not. I don't know. So anyway,
Yeah.
there's been a plethora of motorcycle accidents. And
Yeah.
I met a guy yesterday. I didn't meet him. I ran into an old friend yesterday by circumstance, and he's in worse shape than you are. He admittedly was on the national highway. He was signaling to the right, and he turned left. He was a big boy. He put on his big boy pants and admitted, he said, I screwed up, Paul.
Yeah.
He said, I had the right signal on, and I made a left, and the guy behind me had every right to pass me on the left, and I crashed into him, went flying,
It's
and
unfortunate.
kaboom, kabang, kabang. He's in bad shape. I'm going to show the folks here. This is kind of an impromptu video. But what has happened here to your leg? I mean, we saw it prior to
From
getting damaged.
from here to here, this is all meat,
Uh-huh.
and this is all meat.
Okay.
I've got some here, I've got some over here.
Uh-huh.
Shoulders is, scraped up as well. So luckily, they thought I might have broken my knee, this thumb, if you will, and my shoulder.
Okay.
So I come out of it with sprained ankle, sprained knee, sprained shoulder, sprained hand and thumb.
Okay.
But I do have broken ribs and a small punctured lung. So the ribs and the lung are kind of, leave them alone, they heal themselves. It's really
Yeah,
not much
that's what I heard. Lungs just,
They
they
heal
get
themselves.
punctured, no surgery or anything, they do.
And they don't wrap you for broken ribs anymore because research has shown that it restricts your breathing.
Okay.
And you don't want that, especially if you have a problem with your with one or both lungs. Yeah. So they're just kind of on their own, so it hurts to breathe. I'm not spitting out blood or anything from the lung, so that's a positive. And the ribs will heal themselves. So over due time, 6 to 8 weeks, that's what I'll probably take. Hopefully I heal quick. Now these injuries here, this morning in the shower, I scrubbed them really, really good. So they look a lot better today than they did yesterday, a lot better. I would say for the last 3 or 4 days, it's just been oozing blood and other stuff. So I've been staying on top of my antibiotics and my medication, and I have pain medication, I have the antibiotics, I have some sleep medication that I take to help me sleep.
Okay.
So lesson learned, I know going down the hill, I will brake to a much slower speed before the bridge.
Yeah.
So that I'm not coasting even faster like last time. You know the saying, slow down.
Always.
Slow down, and something I will just have to do. Learn my lesson and slow down.
Yeah, there's an old saying, we're not talking about the drug, but speed kills.
Sure.
When I was a kid, growing up, it was drilled into me that you only have so many feet to brake if the car in front of you slams on its brakes. You have to keep so many car lengths behind the guy. And now you're driving alone. There's nobody in front of you.
I think
it's
the
not
Lord.
the usual suspects here.
Yeah.
In other words, nobody ran past you. A dog didn't run in front of you.
All my fault. I take ownership. It's my fault. I should have known better. I just thank the Lord. There were no other riders around me. There were no other pedestrians around me.
Or a back rider.
And I had a person riding with me. I just thank the Lord that I was alone.
So let me back up a little bit. You fall off the bike. The bike goes down. But did the bike land on top of you or not?
No.
Thank God.
Myself and the bike were probably 10, 15 feet apart somehow.
So you were kind of
So,
ejected.
Yeah, both me and the bike slid because of the speed I was at. So this is why I think I did go unconscious for a brief moment. Is I opened my eyes and there were two Filipino guys there helping me, and they got my helmet off of me, and I laid down there for probably 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
And he asked me if I wanted an ambulance, and I went, I'm in pain, but I'm a dumb military guy. I think I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof, which I'm not. And I said, no, I don't need an ambulance. And so the guys picked my bike up off the ground and got it up. And they lifted me up, and I was in really bad pain. And I just thought, you know what? First thing that came to my mind was I'm going to go home and go lay down. I don't know how I rode that bike back up the hill and got it back to the house. I had no idea. I don't even remember parts of it. But I got the bike up here, and I never made it inside. So I saw my landlord sitting outside, and I walked up to her and just collapsed.
Wow.
And there was blood all over my arms, my leg, everywhere, just everywhere. So she called an ambulance, and the ambulance took me to the hospital, and the hospital took me in from there. I just feel grateful that she was there at that time because
Sure.
I would have been passed out probably in the yard for who knows how long.
Not to mention the two Filipino strangers.
Yeah, so helpful.
Ah,
And I didn't even realize that he was concerned about me, that he followed me back to the house.
no kidding.
Yeah.
That's
Very nice
that's just
people.
how it is here.
Very nice people. I'm grateful for that too. Very nice people.
Hindsight being 2020, would you have allowed them to just call the ambulance for you at that point in time?
When I got to the house,
I mean when you dropped the bike,
Oh,
the guy
in
said, "You want me
hindsight-
to drive you? I'll call you the ambulance." And you would just said, "Yeah, do that." Hindsight.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Knowing what I know and how I felt when I got back,
sure.
I
And
was
that was the
thinking
end
that
result anyway.
I was thinking that I should have just let him call an ambulance.
Yeah. But you probably took a pretty good whack to the nut.
I
If your
did.
helmet scratched up and you think you lost consciousness,
Yeah.
then I'm pretty sure your melon took it.
Somebody said my helmet is cracked,
Wow.
but so if my helmet is cracked, then what would that have done to me? So at least a concussion I would have gotten out of it, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. How was the treatment at the hospital?
Some was good, some was bad.
Okay, let's go over the good. Let's go over the
Emergency room was fabulous.
bad. Okay.
It was great. When I got to the room, there were a few things that concerned me. I'm just going to be honest here.
Yeah.
So the nurse came in one time, and I have a medical background, so she came in and took my blood pressure. I asked her, "What did you get?" She said 130/90, and I thought, okay. So then when she finished with my vitals, and I was in a room with two other people, she did the vitals of the guy sitting next to me, and I heard her tell him his blood pressure was 130/90. And I'm sorry, but there's no damn way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Two people have the same blood pressure at the same time. There's just no way. So, and then the other time was my finger. It ripped the skin off my finger here, and it was bandaged up. And so it was getting pretty nasty and soggy from oozing. And so I asked if they could change. They were dressing my bandages, and I asked them if they could change this bandage. And then she said, okay, and then she left. So then when they came back again, I said, can you change my bandage? And they said, okay, well, I'll tell the other nurse, tell the other nurse, and no one ever came. And then my landlord came to visit, and she asked the nurse to change the bandage on my finger, and they said, well, we'll get the nurse, and then no one ever showed up. And then they came and they were doing the discharge. I said, I've spent 2 days with this nasty bandage. Fourth time asking, can I get this bandage replaced? She says, well, I'm doing your discharge, so change it at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about the X-rays and the doctor and the prognosis?
They did X-rays.
Were you happy with the doctor?
I saw the doctor twice, but he was good. I was happy with the doctor.
So your biggest complaint was basically the nurses not following through.
Well, they gave me a cup and asked me to pee in the cup, and asked them, what's it for? What are you testing?
Yeah.
And then no one could tell me.
Yeah.
But, that just might be the way it is here.
Okay.
So I let it go.
How many days or nights or how much time did you spend in the hospital?
2. And I'm going to be honest, I really kind of had to talk the doctor into releasing me, because I just felt if I'm going to be in pain and feel misery, I'd rather do it at home than here. And knowing what I knew and based off the X-rays, they took X-rays at 3 different times, 8-hour intervals, because they wanted to ensure which ribs were broken. They wanted to know how the lung is, and so they do it 3 times, 8 hours apart.
Okay.
They were going to do a CAT scan on my head until I told them I was wearing a helmet. When I told them I was wearing a helmet, they asked me if I had any pain. I said no, and so they canceled the CAT scan. And I didn't have symptoms of a concussion.
You didn't have blurred vision,
No.
or slurred speech, or anything.
No.
So you actually came out of this pretty good.
Probably pretty good, yeah. Do I walk like a 90-year-old guy? Sure. Do I feel like a 90-year-old guy? Sure. But I'll heal.
Well, as a 90-year-old man, I can certainly relate.
That's just wrong.
So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer, but I know it's a curiosity factor for the guys watching this. What did the 2 days in the hospital cost you?
My final bill was, and I don't know if I get a bill for the ambulance or if it was on the bill, I don't know.
Okay.
But the hospital bill I got when I discharged, my total bill was just under 25,000
Pesos.
pesos.
And that is how much in dollars? $500?
$400 and something dollars.
We'll figure the ambulances. We'll call it nickel. We'll call it 500.
Yeah,
just for fun.
500
I
bucks.
like round numbers. So for $500, you got 2 nights in the hospital, X-rays, 2 visits with a doctor.
They probably took
quality nursing care, but you still had medical supplies and all that.
medical
Did
supplies.
they start you on a drip? Did they give you that?
I was on an IV, antibiotic IV. And they probably took on the X-rays, I think I counted a total of 14.
Wow.
14 X-rays.
Wow.
Yeah. So because they X-rayed my ankle, my knee, my shoulder, my hand and wrist, thumb and wrist, and then a bunch of them on my ribs.
Sure. Now, how long ago was this? 5 days ago?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's 5 days ago.
Sunday, it was 5
5
days
days ago. Yeah.
And how do you feel today compared to day 1, 2, 3, 4?
Each day I'm doing better. I force myself to do some walking.
Okay.
Not that I enjoy it because it's painful as hell.
Yeah.
But I force myself to do the walking. The sitting and standing from a chair, I'm getting better.
Okay.
Now the thing with in bed, laying in bed and then getting up out of bed from a laying position, I still need help.
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's painful.
And it's, because
The ribs hurt.
the ribs.
Ribs
Yeah.
hurt.
It's, very painful.
So this is kind of not a loaded question, but what's your future with motorcycles?
I'm not a quitter. Just get back on it. And,
Is
Get
it
out of it.
changed anything as far as your attitude towards your driving here? In other words, I'll be quite candid with you. I saw some, I'm like you. When I first got here, I used to ride around with no helmet, flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. And by the grace of God, I never got hurt. But one time, I put my bike down, just parking, because I got some soft sand, and the kickstand went into the sand, and I went down. And that was a little wake-up call for me, because I got a big burn on my leg from the
I
dust.
see.
And so they started preaching here about helmets and shoes and pants. And that's when I sat up and paid attention. And I have a habit now. Whenever I'm driving my bike, at least most of the time, I always wear shoes. I always wear a helmet. And 9 times out of 10, I just wear jeans or a long pair of pants. Because I figure, you know what, if it's going to happen, if I'm going to drop the bike, I'm going to get the road rash seems to be the main thing. It's just a drop, not a crash or a collision. Those are fatal usually. But just a drop where you will drop and you slide or you roll. The road rash seems to be the big problem. And I think pants may have at least lessened that.
Played a different factor.
A jacket.
I'm sure that I'm going to have road rash scars. If I don't, I'll be surprised. Will I continue to wear a helmet? Yes. Will I continue to wear closed shoes? Yes. Will I wear long pants going forward? And I'm just being forthright. Probably not.
Okay.
It's just too hot here for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to risk that.
Okay.
So if I was wearing jeans, would I have this better? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It would probably just be bruised, a bit, maybe some burn from sliding, but I'll probably still wear shorts.
And is there a car in your future?
I've already ordered one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that because of the weather? Is that because of the bike? Is that because of just...
I ordered the car 3-4 weeks ago. Mainly because of where I live up in the mountain and it rains. And if I want to go somewhere and it's raining, I'll have the car covered, safer.
Yeah.
I ordered a 4-wheel drive vehicle with a beefed up suspension. So I ordered for that, mainly for bad weather. I like the motorbike. I enjoy the motorbike.
Right.
But the car will be for bad weather, if you will. Or going to the store and buying groceries, or if I want to go to a hypermart and buy something big, I'll have something to put it in.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. I think guys that lock in and load for the long term, like I have, car is something that we can afford it.
One of each.
Get it, because it could not only make your life simpler, but it can save your life.
Yeah.
We're going to be locked in a real typhoon actually right now. Yeah. So for the next few days it's going to be raining like hell. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Guys that are coming out here and are going to be driving bikes, can you give them some words of wisdom from your own experience?
I think the best thing I learned from this is, a lot of us come out here and we're retired. So I'm going to slow it down. Why do I need to be in a hurry? I don't need to be in a hurry. I'm not saying I was in a hurry. I wasn't speeding. I was coasting. But, in hindsight, I think about my riding behavior, and I ride too fast. I know I do. Thinking back now. Mm-hmm. And I need to just slow it down. And if you're late, you're late. So be it. Call it that Philippine time, right?
Yeah.
So just slow it down and be safe. There's no reason to be in a hurry. The roads here are not as safe as in the U.S., where they're wider and flat and clean. And here there's gravel and sand everywhere. A lot of people from other countries aren't used to that. And, it's funny. I rode Harleys for over 30 years, never had an accident, ever. And I come here and now, look at this. I'm not 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I'm not an expert, if you will, because I come here and I don't know how to ride on these roads. You could be safe as you can be on gravel. That's why I was braking, because I was running into gravel. I braked too damn hard and front tire locked up and came up from under me. It's lesson learned.
You think if you could just hit your rear brake?
I'm sorry?
If you just hit the rear brake, you could have had a different result?
It could have been.
Yeah.
I just have a habit here
Yeah.
of braking both front and back
Yeah.
simultaneously.
How big is your bike? What size is
It's a Honda ADV 160.
it? And how did it fare out of all this?
It broke a turn light. I think there's some scratching and damage to the fairing, and then to the footrest, it's damaged. And I haven't really had time to take a close look at it. And somebody was telling me that these bikes have two kickstands, one that kind of lean and one that just raises the back tire off the ground. The one that raises the back up where the tire's off the ground, the neighbor's telling me he thinks that's bent. So it's going to need some work.
Well, you'll be pleasantly surprised at the pricing of having all that repaired out here. It's stupid cheap.
Is it?
Yeah, because my old bike used to break down all the time. So I can speak from experience. And I think, the takeaway from this video is, yes, slow down. No matter how much experience you have, you're not in control of your environment anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And your environment here happened to be sand and gravel that you were experiencing. You slowed down, you dropped the bike, and you actually came out of this pretty lucky. And I think that it's wise advice that if you're retired, and my wife tells me this all the time, because I'm always running to meet somebody or have a coffee or do this. And she, what happened to being retired? You always have to be somewhere and do something. And she's right, as always, which pisses me off. But, I think that's the mental attitude is, and you're fairly new out here still. You're not ingrained. I think been out here for years or anything. So there's still, and I know the feeling, bro. It's kind of like, let's get there, let's get it done, let's make it happen, let's show up, let's be on time, let's be punctual, let's be polite.
I've been here kind of 4 months-ish.
Yeah.
And, you come from the States where everything is hustle and bustle. And,
Yep.
You're prompt if you're not 15 minutes early or late kind of thing. And here, if you're 15 minutes late, you're on time. So people get it here. And if you don't return a message, people get it because they understand you probably lost your internet or there was a brownout or whatever. Yeah. So over time, you learn to just be very lenient with people. And if a guy shows up late, just says, I hit traffic, Patience.
I couldn't get there. I couldn't get out the door. I took a phone call. And nobody else should be in a hurry either because they're retired. And it's not like you're making a business deal or an appointment. You're usually just meeting somebody that sit around and shoot the breeze like you and me are doing right now.
The funny thing with this accident was I was on my way to the dealership to get the oil changed on the bike. So.
Well, Daryl, I really want to thank you for coming back on the channel.
Yeah.
And for sharing your experience. And hopefully this will be like a little safety advisory for the guys that are already living here, perhaps, and definitely the guys coming up.
Definitely be an advocate for wearing a helmet.
Wearing a helmet. I'm an advocate for the long pants, the long sleeves, the closed-in shoes, but for sure, because you can lose a foot or a toe or whatever. And things do happen out here. Generally, it's a dog or another person or something that comes out of nowhere. But every time that I've put my bike down has been exactly like you. I've been by myself,
my shorts
driving along, and I've slipped.
So I just thank the Lord that no one else was involved, that I didn't hurt anyone.
Amen to that.
My shorts and my T-shirt were destroyed to non-repair, so they had to be thrown out. But it's okay.
And you know what? Let's end it on this. God bless the Filipino people.
Yes.
The two strangers
that
come out and help a stranger with no name, with no association, help you, and unbeknownst to you,
I will
follow
tell
you home. How do you put a price on
You
that?
don't put a price on that because I could see in their eyes they were deeply concerned for my welfare, deeply concerned. And I was really surprised, like I said before, that how I drove that thing home. I don't know, because I mean I got broken ribs. I couldn't even do this at the time because I was so stiff, and that's the throttle, right, and the braking. When I got to the gate of this place I live, I looked back and they followed me to make sure I got here okay.
That's awesome.
Is that amazing? That's
Amazing.
awesome.
Well, God bless you that you're okay, and God bless the Filipino people.
Yes, sir.
And God bless the Philippines.
I'll second that.
And God bless the United States of America.
I'll second that.
All right. See you.
Thank y'all. Y'all take care. Peace out.